number one. Secondly, Todd Martin has had a good run. There's got to be some fatigue in him as well. I just think for those reasons that I'd put my money on Agassi, but it's a very close call.
Well, there's probably another couple of reasons you put your money on Agassi, but I won't go into those. But Todd Martin, I think has had a week off, and he's a young fella, and he should be ready to go. He was tired after the Montreal event.
I agree with what Fred said about the way Todd Martin served in Montreal. He really kept Andre Agassi off balance. And I think that's the key of that match will be around the serves. Can he make a few more returns off Todd Martin's?
And he mixed it up in Montreal, so sometimes you have to get burnt when you take a little bit of pace off the serve, but you've got to keep the other guy down that far end guessing a bit.
30.
A pretty good start for Agassi. 2 unforced errors from Martin. You remember in Montreal, to get to 5-2 in that third set, he only made 2 unforced errors in 7 games, and then he unleashed 14 unforced errors in the next 5 to lose the match. It's the early ace from Agassi so far, and it came in at 110 mile an hour. That's not bad in the first service game. You see that Agassi's gone back to that full service motion now. He started off, played at Wimbledon with just the half motion, which means you put the racket behind your back to start. There's no full swing on it.
And then in Canada, he was actually serving half with the first serve and full with the second serve. Now he's gone to the full swing, as you said, Fred, on both serves, and he has won the first game. We'll be back. One game to love, Agassi. Vidas Gerulaitis had a chance to talk to Andre Agassi about the fact that he has to play against Todd Martin again. He said, you know, you've known this for a few days, and have you been thinking about it? Here's what Agassi said.
Todd's certainly one of the most improved on the tour right now, if not the most improved, and dangerous player, hits well off both sides, and his reach allows him to cover the court, and serves big, and can come in and play solid at net, you know, and you have to be determined, you have to stay focused, and he's somebody that you know, you don't necessarily care to play first round, but I'm sure he's not too pleased with his draw either.
I think you could say that again.
Well, that's going to be one of those things. If he's not seeded at the US Open, there's going to be all those 16 seeds there glued and wanting to know what's going to happen in that. Where's Agassi in that draw? That is for sure.
He's gotten off to a great start. Easy service game that he held, and he started off with a clean forehand winner off Todd Martin's first serve to lead love 15. But I know it's still a little bit too early to tell, but doesn't Andre Agassi look a little bit more positive today in his start than when he did up in Montreal
He
against
started
Todd
off
Martin?
very well in this one, and a drop shot here, and he's very quick. He gets up there, and the ball is not below the net very much there, and he whips it down. What's the foot speed here? Agassi is deceptively quick on the court. Racket ready out in front with the 2 hands on it as he approaches that shot. But he is keen and eager, and as Cliff mentioned, he has to win today as far as his mental approach to the rest of the season is concerned.
15-30.
I would just take exception with one thing you said, Fred, and that was deceptively quick. He looks quick, and he is quick to me. There's not much deception in to me.
Well, the players think that he's put on a little bit of weight, and we talked about that in the last 12 months, how the weight that we feel made him a little bit slower around the court.
This serve is a big weapon for Todd Martin, but you know, throughout college he was not a serve and volley player. His ground strokes, truthfully, as you see how he gets his power there with the knee bend and then a full stretch and in the air when he makes contact with the ball. The ground strokes were really the foundation of his game. Another ace for Martin.
And it's a very relaxed, easy motion, flows very freely. and it's good under pressure. And what's even more important, he gets the second serve in really deep, doesn't let you hammer away at it.
Again, just the point is that it's really only in the last year or so that he's become a real, honest-to-goodness serve and volley player. Before that, he was a ground stroker.
Deuce.
Deuce. And in truth, even today, he stays back a lot.
Todd Martin won his first tournament down at Coral Springs, which is the American Red Clay Court Championships.
You're involved in that tournament,
I'm
aren't you,
involved
Fred?
with that as a tournament director with Mark Barron down there. We did a good job. We had a very successful event, and proud to have Todd as our champion the first year. He did take a beating in the final.
Game point for Martin coming up.
Advantage, Martin.
Fred Stoll is the only guy I know can be a tournament director without actually being there. He was in Rome covering the Italian Championships
For
at the time.
ESPN. I will be in Coral Springs next year.
Game point, Martin. Deuce.
Deuce.
One of the things that makes Agassi's return so effective is he can take it on the rise, out in front with a very short backswing and produce a lot of power. Certainly one of the best service returns in the game, if not the best. And Fred, last year, the way he returned at Wimbledon, you would have to say he does have the best service return in the game.
Oh, most definitely.
I think there's a case for saying Courier is up there with
Up
him.
there.
But I think you're right. I would, when the chips are down, I'd go for Agassi #1. Remember how well Courier returned at the Australians though, against Edberg in the final?
This is a terrific start, though, but Todd Martin's just got to, you know, he can't worry about this. There's nothing he can do about it. He's serving well, and Agassi is just blistering those returns past him. This is where he did a great job in Montreal on break points. When he was in trouble, he threw in that three-quarter pace kicker out to Agassi. He got burned a couple of times on it, but Agassi thrives on pace, and if you hit that big flat serve, he just gets that, as you said, get that racket out early, gets the ball in front, and he hammers winners. If it's kicking up a little bit, he's got to change his swing somewhat. This is a big game for Martin to hang on to here.
Advantage, Martin.
How about Michael Chang in the return of serve stakes? He's up there, isn't he?
No, not in the same category as Agassi and Courier, I don't think. Gets the ball back and does well with it, but not the same power.
Okay. Game point, Martin.
Chang hurts you with his speed.
Yeah.
He really gets the ball back, and then it's his second and third shots.
So after all that, Todd Martin holds on, and it's one game apiece. First set, best of three, first round men's singles here. Number 11 seed, Todd Martin of the USA. And as you said, Freddie won a tournament. He just has had an excellent year. He's been in the finals of 4 tournaments this year, winning the one in Coral Springs that you talked about. Finalist lost, not last week, but Sunday, a week ago in Montreal in a match that, truth, he really should have won. He was way ahead. The third set.
Another thing in Martin's repertoire is his backhand. He can slice the backhand and he can hit it with pace with a two-handed stroke. The forehand has been the weakness, but he has also cut that back a little bit by not going for as many shots, using a little bit more control, playing within himself and not trying to overpower the ball.
Even though he's wrapped that ball around his racket, mishit it slightly. That's one of his favorite shots, the two-hander down the line. As he jockeys around during a point, he'll try to set it up where he pushes you to the other side of the court, waits. That one he mishit, but normally hits it nice and clean with a short backstroke.
Great shot, bit deep though. No, maybe.
No, it's not.
Rolled it long. Peters, I think that two-handed down to the forehand of the guys that, like an Agassi or a Courier or a Crickstein, catches them off balance a little bit because they don't serve and volley that much. And all those three players, when they hit that first serve, they tend to move over to the backhand side looking for that big forehand. That's that forehand of Todd Martin that I was talking about, trying to press a little bit with that one, overhit it.
Game point, Agassi. Talk about a contrast in personalities, these two boys. I think you'd have to say there's a major contrast because Todd Martin, there's nothing outrageous about him. He's sort of an all-American boy. He was a late bloomer as a player. On the other hand, Andre Agassi, he's a wild man. He gets more publicity by doing the smallest thing than anybody else in the sport by a long way. Agassi holds on, and it's 2-1 in the first set. We're on serve. Best of 3. First round men's singles here. Live coverage of the Thriftway.
The ATP Tour, where the best players in the world compete. And what's the only tennis ball designed specifically for the tour? Dunlop? Wilson? Penn? ATP Tour? You know the ATP Tour. Introducing the ATP Tour tennis ball.
How did Prince make the world's sweetest tennis racket? They started by making the main strings longer, for more power. Next, Prince staggered the strings, for greater control. Then they created the biggest sweet spot. And there you have it, all in a feather-light design. The new Prince Extender, the sweetest sweet spot in tennis. Prince, in love with the game.
No real fireworks yet in this match. Agassi leading 2-1, but we're on serve. Our coverage continues tomorrow here, live coverage through Friday, as a matter of fact, at 1 o'clock Eastern time every day. Then on Saturday, you can see semi-final at 3:30 p.m. On Sunday, final at 5 p.m. And we'll be talking tennis all through next week. The Volvo from New Haven as well. 7 days of coverage from there as well. Our summer of tennis continues here on ESPN. Andre Agassi leading 2-1 in the first set. Did they play tonight in Montreal, Fred? I forget. Or was it a day
Of course
match?
they did. No, no, the final was a...
No, I mean this Agassi, Martin, when they played. I believe it was a night match.
Yeah, it was a night match. Agassi played all of his matches up there in the night time. Evening sessions. Actually, this is probably the first time Agassi's played a match during the day for some time. They normally schedule his matches at night. And he's a little lucky that it is rather overcast and a lot cooler than yesterday.
Missed it.
Covers the court well for a big fellow, Todd Martin. Scrambled well on that point. Agassi rips a forehand down the line. Back with the cross-court forehand. Now this is where he comes in, puts up a good defensive high lob. Gives himself time to get back to the middle of the court. Agassi lines it up, really tries to smack it, and then Todd Martin, oops, you wouldn't want to teach that shot, Fred, would you?
No, you don't want to put that in the videos. No.
Good on
the highlight film.
saying he moves well for a big guy, and emphasis on for a big guy, because I think if you put the two of them one-on-one, Agassi would be the quicker of the two, don't you think? 30 love.
30-15.
First double fault for Martin. About just short of 1:30 in the afternoon, and as Fred was saying just a moment ago, the sun, you know, there's no sun today, so that's a plus for Martin, because that side can be a little rough at this time of the day.
I think it's a plus for for Martin in other respects too, because Agassi, having not played in the heat of the day for a long time, doesn't know what the heat and humidity is in the middle of the day here, and it can be pretty tough to handle.
One of the best things I like about Andre Agassi's ground strokes is that he stays right up on the baseline, takes the ball early, always rushing. Even he doesn't swing very hard at the ball, seems to be coming at you always at a very quick pace, always on top of you before you're ready.
He's always on top of the ball. He always hits the ball around about waist height. Very rarely will you see that ball get down below his knees to make contact with it, which means he's in good position to make the shots, because that's about the height of the net. Even on that returner serve there, waist high. But when the ground strokes are the more important ones. When he gets around three-quarter court or half court there, he's always over the top of the ball.
Okay, just lost his footing.
And that was an example of what Fred was talking about before. As soon as Agassi hit that ball, he was already starting to move over to his backhand side. Todd Martin takes the two-hander, which is produced with a short backswing, and he comes straight back into Agassi's strength. Now, he'll start moving right away to the backhand, and before he has a chance to recover, it's straight back down to the forehand side. And a lot of players use that strategy, play into the strength of a player to open up his weakness.
Easier shot, in my opinion, to hit with a two-hander, actually, that down-the-line forehand.
Down the line backhand.
Backhand, excuse me, two-handed backhand.
Cliffy, you would know you had one of the best two-handed backhands in your day.
I used to enjoy hitting it.
He only had 3 two-handers. No, I'm being facetious. It was a great shot.
Cliffy had a great two-hander.
Still has.
Thanks. Game point. Agassi is making him work on his serve so far, isn't he? Deuced again.
Agassi moves out to this one, then moves back. So he'll take those little steps back, and then the good footwork, he tries to lean in. You can see the way he really rotates from the hip on both the ground strokes, on both forehand and backhand side. To start off with, though, the shoulder turn is all the way around, and then he lets it rip.
Generally, the players with the good footwork all seem to take pretty small steps.
Exactly.
Yeah, shuffling, always getting into the very, very good position.
That's a free lesson for all you hackers at home, all you club players at home that like to study these matches.
Great point for Agassi. Second break point of the match for him.
Well, on that occasion, Martin came up with the heater when he was down break point in his first service game, 111 miles an hour on the IBM speed gun. In his opening service game, he went for the three-quarter pace one, that kicker out to the backhand. That's what we've talked about in Canada. He varied his serve. He mixed it up very well on the big points.
Agassi's really seeing the ball well today, picking it up very quickly. And there's that quick shoulder turn that Fred's talking about. Gets it turned right around and then drives with the hips and shoulders through the ball, but always ready to play the next ball. See, all the good players are always ready, jockeying for the next shot.
Oh, another one. Picked it up a little bit more on that one. 111, his last one. 115 miles an hour, that one.
And he's gone to the forehand each time on break point. Great extension, really throws his body up, out, and over the ball.
Crept up in the rankings since turning pro. Todd Martin, he was 257 when he came out in 89. Then he dropped back 269 in 90, 133 in 91, 87. He finished up the year in 92 at number 87, and he's got it up now to 14.
That's a brilliant return. Just picks up the ball so quickly as it comes over the net. And his preparation is just so good. First thing he does is turns the shoulders and the racket back at the same time, and then all he has to do is drive back through with the shoulders, straight through the ball. Great follow through, great extension.
See how that racket stayed on, the two-hander stayed on until he'd finished the shot, and then he lets it hook around the back of his neck.
The thing that really surprises me about today's players is that almost every shot they're off the ground with their feet too. You know, never used to be true one generation ago. Another break point for Agassi.
Well, that was not a very smart shot.
Fourth break point of the match for him, the third of this game.
Drop volley off a rather solid return.
Yeah, he was waiting for that serve down the forehand side.
Well, it's one thing to be waiting for, it's another thing to make the shot, and he did. Watch this, Peters.
Great execution, gets the ball down low, and once again, short backswing on the forehand, and just with a lot of excessive topspin, dips it cross court. Todd had no chance to get that. But Rycliffe, that was, even though he knew the serve was coming to the forehand, he had to execute it, and he really got the ball down low and hard.
112 mile an hour serve, he just knocked back as though it was nothing.
Game point, Agassi.
20-15.
Made that game look easy, and Andre Agassi is in control of the first set, at least 4-1 with one break. Todd Martin will serve when we come back. This is live coverage of the Thriftway ATP Championships.
We thought you'd like to see all the tennis balls our factory turns out in a day. Penn tennis balls, amazingly consistent. You've seen one, you've seen them all.
Andre Agassi, 4-1 with a break in the first set of this best-of-3 set first round. Live coverage of the men's singles here. Goran Ivanisevic earlier today out of the tournament. He has had a very poor year, as you know. His number 9 seed at Luis Mataro of Brazil beat him 6-3, 3-1. I was watching that match in the second set and thinking to myself, what has happened to this guy? Some sort of mental problem, which one can understand because things in Croatia, in his home country, are still so unsettled. That's a possibility, and he's had other personal problems this year. But Ivanisevic withdrew from the match complaining of a dead arm finally. He said he was lacking full power, and the tournament doctor took a look at him, couldn't figure out what the story was. So they've sent him to a local hospital for more diagnostic tests and x-rays. Anyway, Ivanisevic, the number 9 seed from Croatia, he's out.
And this is his first time here at the Thriftway ATP, and folks were looking forward to seeing him play. He wasn't here for very long.
15 left.
This is how things have gone so far. Agassi with a little bit better service percentage than Martin, and he's hit more winners and made few unforced errors. That's just one service break. Agassi leads at 4-1. Five aces now for Todd Martin so far in the match.
Todd Martin holds on. It's 4-2 under Agassi about to serve. Todd Martin has been a member of the USTA national team. You know, the United States Tennis Association gave birth to this player development program, I want to say about 10 years ago now. And a lot of players, of course, they said, well, Agassi didn't really go through it. Chang didn't really go through it. Todd Martin really did. His personal coach is Rick Furman, chairman of the player development program of the USTA. He's still on the program. For my money, it's been a very productive program generally. Rick Furman is not here this week, and neither, incidentally, is Pancho Segura, who is Andre Agassi's new coach.
A good aggressive point from Todd Martin, staying close to the baseline, driving through with that two-handed backhand.
I thought Segura was working with him right through the USA. Todd Martin's picked up the pace a little. He's starting to play with the same intensity that Agassi started off with, or the same power. I think that's one of the things that has caught up with Agassi a little bit the last couple of years, is that his opponents are starting to hit the ball as hard as he has.
A big point and a great return on the big point, and Todd Martin has got 3 break points on Agassi now.
And that was a good example of the power that Todd Martin hits. Even though he may make a few more errors on the forehand side, he also can hit more winners.
Todd Martin this year, as we mentioned, has a terrific year. He's made just on $450,000, which is more than half his career earnings. He's put all that together in the year of '93.
He's from Lansing, Michigan. He was a Northwestern player for a while. Marty Reeson's former school. Break point. He got it. There's the break back for Todd Martin. And it's 4 games to 3. We're on serve. They have traded breaks of serve in the first set. Agassi leads at 4-3. So Agassi leads 4-3, still ahead, but we're on serve here in the first set. Take a look at the draw. His section of the draw, Van Lendl, is in the second round because of a bye. Doug Flack is through to the next round, and well, Fred, what about this one? Renneberg Stolly.
Well, he beat Sandin out there on court 3, 6-3, 7-6. Sandin played a good game. Richie Renneberg just on the big points in the tiebreaker. He lost in the second set, so the match you are now watching, Agassi and Martin.
And in the same section with them, Cedric Pioline, the number 13 seed of France. He had a good win over Brett Stephen, who did so well at the Australian this year, getting to the round of 16. Mark Woodford is through over Alex O'Brien of the USA. Michael Steek gets a bye, take on the winner of Chuck Adams and Amos Mansdorf, who will play today. Martin has won 8 of the 10 last points in this match, so he turned this thing around in a hurry. But it's 4-3 Agassi, and it's Martin serving love 15.
What the draw looks like in the rest of the bottom half. Michael Chang seeded 7. A lot of the players in there were qualifiers. Nestor and Rafter qualified. Mark Knowles qualified. He beat, Jamie Morgan beat him yesterday. And then a big upset there with Luis Matar over Ivanisevic. Washington beat Pernfors yesterday in our match of the day. Simmerink defeated Grant Doyle, the youngster from Australia today. Stoltenberg over Wheaton. You saw parts of that yesterday. He now takes on Courier, who had a bye.
Love 30.
Well, 8 out of 10 points, and then you wouldn't have thought that the way he's played this game.
3 in a row. It's break point for Agassi. In fact, 3 of them. So there is another break for Agassi, and he will serve for the first set, leading 5 games to 3. Big story this morning in the local Cincinnati newspaper, The Inquirer, about hair on the chests or not on the chests of people. I mean, they were talking about the bodybuilders and one thing and another. All because Andre Agassi at Wimbledon shaves the hair off his chest. I mean, it is astounding what kind of international repercussions something like that has. I'm talking not in the sports section, but in the lifestyle section.
He's let it grow back again now.
Yeah.
What happened to the days when they used to talk about your tennis? That's sort of gone by the wayside.
That didn't happen to Agassi at Wimbledon. His photo was on the front page of all the newspapers. 1992 with hair, 1993 without hair. Well, Todd Martin has shanked 4 balls in the last 8 points, I would say. He hasn't hit them in the middle of the frame at all.
Much ado about nothing. Much ado about no hair. Anyway, 2 points from the set. 5-3, 30 love.
Well, this is what happened to Martin in Canada. Another unforced error. So Agassi's run out the last 7 points, and I would say 6 of those have been on unforced errors.
Set point. So Agassi holds on and wins the first set. He was broken once. He in turn broke Todd Martin twice. And he wins the first set by 6 games to 3. It was a roller coaster ride in that first set. We'll be back after this break.
Well, an interesting first set here. You have a look at the first serve percentages and the aces. Martin a bit better there. Winners equal, but those unforced errors, that's what crept into Todd Martin's game in the last 2 or 3 games. And Agassi converted with after 5 breakpoint chances. Time of the set, 39 minutes. And Andre Agassi started off brilliantly. Todd Martin came back, won 10 of about 12 points, and then the wheels fell off for him. So it's been a very up and down first set.
First point, second set. Love 15, our man that you've heard on ESPN before doing commentary alongside us has joined us, the Beach, Brad Gilbert, who yesterday had a typical Brad Gilbert match. I suppose he would say winning ugly over Andre Orlovsky, tiebreaker, third set. How was it, Beach?
It was rough out there.
But you came through again.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but somehow I snuck it out.
Happy birthday for yesterday, too. One on your birthday.
Yeah,
Dropped one out on your birthday.
Yeah, that didn't happen very often. I share it with a great one, Rod Laver.
Yeah, that's right. Rocket's birthday yesterday.
I think Todd Martin's sister Amy also has a birthday yesterday. She wrote her bar exams. As a matter of fact, she is here. Beej, you were saying about Andre Agassi, you think he's slower than he was a year ago.
I think he's moving a little bit slower, especially the backhand side. He seems to be chopping at the backhand more now than he ever did. And I thought his best shot was the backhand down the line, and he doesn't seem to be hitting that as well because his foot speed isn't quite as good.
What about your book, Winning Ugly?
Well, it's kind of a book for club players on how they can improve their game 20-25% without improving their strokes.
And it works?
It works. Okay. You should, maybe it'd help your forehand a little bit, huh?
It's beyond repair.
You better get over that publisher, man, and get him to give you a few more free books because you want us to give it a plug here and you don't even give us a copy. I'm sure they're not going out to buy one.
The money goes for the Arthur Ashe AIDS Foundation.
Game point. Martin.
This is a good game for Todd Martin to regroup here. He had eight unforced errors there at the end of the first set. He needs to get this and get off to a good start here in the second set.
Up next for Brad Gilbert will be Peter Corder. We're going to take a break. Thank Brad for joining us. Appreciate you coming up for these few moments. Good luck in your next match with Corder. We'll be back after this.
Of all the credit cards out there, only one has Smart Rate, now as low as 14.9%, and no annual fee. Discover Card. It's a better deal. It pays to discover.
They both run on the same rubber. This one gets better mileage.
Wilson Performance Shoes. The most durable tennis shoes running.
Defending champion Stefan Edberg returns with repeat on his mind. He'll have to get past former champions Andre Agassi and Ivan Lendl to gain the title. The Volvo International beginning Monday live on ESPN.
Sampras is the top seed. He'll take on Brian Shelton over Gilles Raoux of France yesterday. Simeon, also of France, beaten by Aaron Krickstein. He'll take on Henrik Holm, who earlier today beat Jacko Elting. So the number 16 seed is through, so is the number 1 seed. Here's how that next section looks, Fred.
Medvedev over Hayes in that first round, and then Wally Masur takes on Derek Rostania today. Ryan over Stark, and Krajcek receives a bye.
Eddie Berg is through the bye. Jakob Plasek is the man he'll play. Jeff Tarango will take on the winner of Carlson and Ferreira, who will play today, the number 14 seed from South Africa. And we were talking earlier, the beach. Brad Gilbert, he won his first only just. Korda is the man that he'll take on next. Volkov, the number 12 seed, is through, winner of Cherkasov and Anders Jarrett. 15 love here.
Todd Martin started off the second set with a good service game, couple of aces, solid game, and now 15 all in the second game. Some great ground strokes exchanged by both players. Agassi was moving great down along the baseline. Rips a couple backhands straight down the line. He hustles back with that forehand. Back to the center of the court. Just lines that one up and drives straight through it. Great follow through. Keeps the ball in his racket for a very long time. And great disguise. Really tough to pick where he's going to hit that two-handed backhand.
All right on the line, that one.
But both players are sort of picking up from the ground stroke aspect of the match. 30 all. That last point, even though Agassi had won it, Todd Martin and Andre were hitting great off the ground. Just sort of good backswing and just really throws his body into that forehand, can generate a lot of pace.
There is not a lot of margin for error in Andre Agassi's game. He hits the ball so hard and so often so flat. As you take a look at his first serve percentage at 64, and then he has done well on both first and second serve points.
Not a lot of error, margin for error on Todd Martin's game either. No. Both these fellas go for their shots. Look at that.
It's a cold wide game, Agassi. Well, what that means is, Fred, is that when you lose your timing, I mean, things can change very quickly. And that's exactly what happened in the first set, because Martin, you know, was up and down and up and down, just like the roller coasters at Kings Island here, across the street.
But Agassi shows great balance as he hits his ground strokes. He always stays down low to the ground. And even though he made that shot, it was called out. But he has great preparation. He's always down low, and even when he jumps at the ball, his center of gravity stays low.
And he's moved to the ball with the racket back, which is half the battle. You've got time to execute then.
1 game all, second set.
15 left.
That's just wild. That's to hit that shot in. You can see him talking to himself there. That's going to happen 1 in 10, isn't it?
Been hitting that wide serve out to the forehand very well against Andre Agassi. Good first serve percentage for someone who serves as well as Todd Martin, 63%. And when he does that, he's going to win 68%, at least 68% of his first serve points.
Yeah, the one in yellow is the big one, though. 31% on second serves. If you at that stage, that's why Agassi has broken serve a couple of times.
Andre had an opportunity, a second serve. Try to rip it down the line.
Game point.
Todd Martin's played a few of those half volleys very nonchalantly today. Usually plays those with a little bit more care, Fred, a little bit more accurate. That volley's just not going to hack it against a guy like Andre Agassi. Sort of plays it a little bit late, not very firm with the wrist. Another opportunity, second serve, Andre Agassi, break point.
No, it's a game point for Todd Martin.
Game mark.
2-1 Martin on serve. Second set, 6-3 Agassi won the first. Andre Agassi won the first set, 6-3. Todd Martin on serve, leading the second set 2-1. It is Agassi to serve. We're at the Jack Nicklaus Sports Center in Maidstone, Ohio, which you could call a suburb of Cincinnati. Live coverage. Thriftway ATP Championship stop number 7 in the IBM ATP Tour Championship Series, also known as the Super 9. Pretty warm down there at courtside, but nothing, Fred, like it was yesterday.
Well, it broke that machine yesterday. I'm happy to see that it's got back to normal. It's just slightly under 100 degrees there. Yesterday it went way over 120. It was up about 140 yesterday, I would have thought.
You're listening to Fred Stolle, Vitas Gerolaitis, and I'm Cliff Drysdale. Hope you're enjoying your afternoon. It is just after 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And this is Agassi trailing 1-2, leading 15-11 this game.
Overhead to put away, Fred, and you'd see most players just sort of spin that back deep to get back into the point, but he went for an outright winner and
missed one earlier, didn't he? And that one was very deep into the backhand. It was a good shot. Funny today, it seems to be Agassi who's really intense and just looking into around those 4 lines. He's not worrying about anything else. Todd Martin seems to be a little bit astray today, sort of looking around the crowd, not the powers of concentration that he's shown us the last couple of weeks.
And he's not finishing the points off as well as he did up in Montreal.
So in the second set, we're even at 2 games apiece. Agassi won the first set 6-3. Tonight on ESPN, Tuesday Night Baseball takes you first of all to Boston. The Yankees and the Red Sox will meet in the key American League East battle. They're tied at the moment for third place. Then in the second game, a National League West matchup, the Astros against the San Diego Padres. Houston's Jeff Bagwell and Padres' Tony Gwynn are both among the league leaders in hits. Doubleheader action tonight, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on ESPN. Todd Martin serving at 2 games apiece. Love 15. Second set, first set to Agassi.
Again, the wheels are just falling off once more. 6 points in a row to Agassi now. Martin in a heap of trouble. Love 30. He served 11 aces today, but really it hasn't done him much good, because when he's missed that first serve, it's been the second serve that has got him into trouble. Only a 31% return on second serves. Agassi there just with 1 ace.
Not quite quick enough to hit an effective shot when he got there, although he was pretty speedy getting to the ball. 2 points in a row for Martin. It's 30 all.
And that was a much better half volley from Todd Martin, because that was a very good return from Andre Agassi. Kept the ball really low, but he stayed down with the half volley and pushed it down the line.
He must have hurt us up here. 3 points in a row now.
We were talking earlier about about the seating at the U.S. Open and what does Andre Agassi have to do. Well, the ATP Tour officials tell us that something along these lines, and a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. But if Agassi wins here and gets to a quarterfinal at New Haven, chances are he would get seeded. New Haven, of course, is the tournament next week. Of course, he could win New Haven and have to get to about the semi-finals here. 3-2, second set.
Back at the Thriftway ATP Championships, Todd Martin leading 3-2 on serve, and thought we'd just like to share a little bit of trivia with you here. And this was given to me by a fan. Cliff Drysdale has been notably the worst-dressed tennis commentator.
I do not believe this.
It just goes along with his personality, because he just really doesn't care about his clothes. But there was a time when he did, way back in about 1964-65, with that beautiful safari suit. And just compare those peaches and cream looks of Cliffy there with that scraggy look of today. What a great one.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Fred, what a look.
This whole crew is nuts. Send them home. Send them somewhere. That was about 1965.
Cliff, it's not often, but I am speechless after seeing that photo.
Well, I got that off a fan the other day, and Cliff signed one of the prints, and he was about to give that one to Cliff, or tell him that I had it. And I said, I've got something I need to do with that.
Well
Thought
done.
you'd like to share that with us.
Agassi, 15 love. 3 games to 2. Martin leads second set, first set Agassi.
He looked a hell of a lot better in that photo, the way he dresses now, doesn't he? Huh? Amazing.
One hour into this match. Just about 10 after the hour here on the East Coast. Match started 10 minutes after 1. Oh, yeah. 30-15.
30-15.
When Andre Agassi hit that approach shot, he really didn't look very positive as he was coming into the net. He'll get the short ball, and he sort of hesitates just a fraction of a second, and that's what causes you to open up the court a little bit too much for the passing shot. That was a little bit more positive when he came in. And once you decide to hit the approach shot, Fred, you got to just get in there, get in tight.
I think he's a lot more positive on the forehand side than he is on the backhand side, yeah. Watch this. He gets right around this one and cranks up, knows that he's hit a good one, and then runs straight for the center of the court. Figures that Todd Martin has to go across court. He's got an easy put away on the forehand volley.
Making it look pretty easy. 4-2 now in the second.
When he hits those forehand
Make
approaches,
that 3-all,
he
sorry.
really doesn't have to do too much on the volley, though, with the power and precision that he cranks up on that one.
One of the reasons why I think Curry has improved on all surfaces, especially his good showing at Wimbledon this year, is that now when he gets that ball 3/4 into the court, he's aggressive and comes into the net because they're not going to get too many low volleys from there. They hit such a good approach shot. Every volley's going to be at least waist high and higher.
I think you're going to find that to be one of the major changes in the sport with a lot of the younger players in the next 12 months trying to emulate that type of a game. Even with Todd Martin, you can see it if he doesn't serve and volley all the time, he'll play that way. 13 aces now for Martin.
But it's a smart move, and I think that's something that Agassi should try to use a little bit more often, too.
Called wide, but it was pretty close. 15 love. Second serve. This game of tennis requires tremendous coordination. I tell you, not every sport in the world needs a kind of eye-hand coordination that you need for tennis. Todd Martin is pretty good at a couple of other sports as well. Pool being one of them. His granddaddy had a pool table, and he played as a youngster. And I say when he went to college, he did a little bit of that as well. He's not a bad golfer either, actually. He and Jared Palmer together shot a 65 scramble score on Sunday.
30-15.
You say all those great things about a guy throws in a double fault. Second double fault of the match. But that's a telling number, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 unforced errors. It's not bad. Very close in the winnings department.
Oh, yeah. 4-3 on serve, second set. Agassi will serve when we come back. He won the first set. We'll be back. Kings Island is just across the street here from where we are at the Jack Nicklaus Sports Center, and of course that place is jammed daily. The Andre Agassi leading. He won the first set 6-3, but he's trailing in the second. Sampras and Courier actually have played in 10 tournaments together this year, and 7 times either one of the two has won the title. Stefan Edberg is the number 3 player in the world now. Boris Becker at number 4. Sergio Bruguera, who won the French Championships and Monte Carlo, is number 5. Michael Stieck won the German. Ivan Lendl has managed to hang on. Richard Krajicek had a good start to the year. Michael Chang is number 9, and Peter Korda at 10. That's how the world rankings are as of now. Sampras and Courier have dominated the year, really. If they hadn't, and you were talking about U.S. tennis, though, I think you'd have to say, you know, Todd Martin, maybe most improved player of the year, maybe?
Well, he's certainly come the furthest in the rankings, hasn't he? He shot up to number 14, a career high. Unforced errors there again on that forehand side. First serve percentages, the winners there with Martin 26 And Agassi only 17, but look at the unforced errors. That's been the difference in the match. Agassi in this set on serve has lost 3 points.
See that smile on Todd Martin's face. Fred mentioned earlier, he does have a good temperament. Even when he goes down a break or he plays a couple of loose points, always he's focused, straight ahead. Come on, let's play the next game. Let's play a little bit better.
He's a very independent kind of a guy. He doesn't travel with a coach.
Well, he's what Rod Laver might call point-by-point tennis, and Jim Courier learnt that from Jose Aguirre, to play point-by-point tennis. Once it's over, there's not much you can do about it. You should never hang your head and let the opponent up the other end know that you're thinking, oh, here we go, I'm starting to do this again. You've got to be positive and hold your head up high. And there's a very slight difference between that level and the fellas that are between, 20 and 50 or 50 and 100.
Agassi holds on 4 games all second set.
No break points in this second set yet. Oh. Think he reads this early? Look how far he is. Just one long step out there, and he was cut down the angle. You could see the way he cut down the angle of the serve, way out in front of him. That's a big serve.
30-15.
111 miles an hour, good motion. We've talked about it. Look how high that elbow is. He jumps up and out after the ball. Good extension. But the elbow is a secret. He's got that up way high up in the air, and that lets him throw at the ball, and that's how you can reach up and out.
Agassi asking Richard Kaufman if he's sure about the call. Watch.
15 aces. Kaufman's not going to give him any joy.
Take a look at that sign on his chair. Sure, they're one of the sponsors here. It's kind of funny, I think, because are you sure? I could just point to the sign and say.
That's a good marketing ploy, that, isn't it?
Big return. 40-30.
Ball came back faster than he served it.
Yeah.
So really no chance to make that play.
Still game point. Todd Martin holds on, playing a solid serve game. No breaks of serve points even in this set so far. It's 5-4 and Agassi will serve. Todd Martin leads the second set, 5-4. It's Agassi to serve. We're on serve. Agassi won the first set 6-3. Volvo next week here on ESPN from New Haven, Connecticut. It's an interesting field. Andre Agassi will be there. So will Malavia Washington, who all those years ago beat Ivan Lendl at that same tournament. Ivan Lendl himself will be there. So will Peter Kordu, who won it a couple of years ago over Goran Ivanisevic. And then the return of Mats Wilander. We've got 7 days of coverage of the Volvo this year. So hope that you will join us next week. And, of course, we'll be here for the rest of this week as well.
I was going to say this is a big game for Andre Agassi, but he knows it. Terrific point. First point of the game. Talked about that in the last game. He's only lost 4 points on serve in this set.
On the line. shot for Agassi.
Agassi has been making Todd Martin work all around the court today. Todd comes in with the approach, and now he'll dip this one down low. Here, he'll try to scoop that ball up high. It's a tough hitting that overhead backhand. Just stretching him from left to right.
Tennis serve long, 40-love Agassi.
Not even close to a break point in this set so far. On serve at 5-all. Agassi hasn't been in there too many times, but he goes in there behind such good approach shots. He's won 78% of them, and Todd Martin not very good down there at 41%. If you're a serve and volleyer, as you will, Todd Martin, you wouldn't really call him a serve and volleyer all the time, but his percentages are going to be a lot better than that if he's to win matches like this.
First serve again. It's 30-15 Martin. That down the line two-hander is a super shot of his, isn't it?
40-15.
Shoulders round, and he cracks this one. Look how he gets the weight through. Look at the head of the racket, though, as it comes through the path of the ball. Stays on the ball until he finishes the shot. Stays on there for a good 12, 18 inches.
Looks like he's never going to mess with it.
Yep.
Just straight back and straight through.
Pretty ferocious stuff there from Todd Martin, and he holds on. As we've been saying, no breaks to serve, not even break opportunities here in the second set. So Agassi will serve, trailing 5-6. He won the first set. This is live coverage of the Thriftway ATP Championships. We are in Mason, Ohio. For those of you not familiar with this area, if you have been to Kings Island, we are just across the road from Kings Island, which has got all of these terrific rides, things like Top Gun, the Beast, King Cobra, the Racer, Vortex, etc., etc. There it is.
They tried to get me to go on that Vortex the other day with my son, Sand, and then Said I haven't been around for 54 years to go and turn myself upside down 6 times on that thing.
Anyway, this is Agassi serving, trailing 5-6 in the second set. Long, love 15.
This is where you'll find Martin try and put a little bit of pressure on Agassi. Even if he misses, he's doing the right thing and gets to be a little bit of added experience. He's won the first point. He's got to keep going forward and letting Agassi come up with the winners. Oh, he hit that all called along.
Agassi said something to the linesperson. He was a lot more animated last year. He's taking this on-court stuff more seriously, Fred, this year. He's not doing a lot of this discussing. I mean, he's talking to the linesperson, but he's not talking a lot to the spectators and the fans. Oh, that is actually a great point by Agassi all round. The lob was superb.
Yeah, the lob was the one that made it for him because he was off balance. And as you said, he's got enough touch and enough balance to, watch this one. And that's the lob that won it for him. Tough shot there from Todd Martin, but it turns into a pretty good lob. But Agassi doesn't give any measure from back here. He cranks it up. And that was perfectly played.
Second serve at 30-15. Another one called long. Close, both of them there on the same line going Agassi's way. Game points for Agassi.
Boy, I think I'd have wanted one of those my way, but they were both very close, so this looks as though it's into a tie-break.
Another one, 3. That one was clearly long putt. And that's what we'll see, Fred, a tie-break in the second set. If Agassi wins it, of course, this match is history because he won the first set. He has lost to Todd Martin twice this year, including in Montreal just about 2 weeks ago now, won by Martin.
Thank you.
First to 7 with a 2-point lead wins the tiebreak. 1 to Martin. They also played earlier this year in Memphis, and Martin got all the way to the final. They lost to Jim Courier, but as I recall, it was a tiebreak in the third set. And they both went up to Philadelphia after that and lost in the first round because they were exhausted.
Exactly right.
There are the tiebreak records. Agassi just hasn't played that much tennis this year, reflected in those tiebreak records. He has 9 tournaments on the IBM ATP Tour computer. Not a lot.
Funny, before this match went on court, Todd Martin was quoted in the press as saying, well, it's tough to play Andre any time, but first round's going to be more difficult. I'm seeded, and the crowd are going to be for him right from the start. And he's been spot on in that area because the crowd are with Agassi.
Just too many unforced errors for Todd Martin.
2.
Agassi wanted another call down there, and he's not going to get that one. Another very close one.
Richard Kaufman in the chair. On serve in the tie break, a mini break apiece, 2-3, Agassi serving. Again, that two-handed down the line. Agassi glancing at the linesperson on that line again, where he got all the calls his way in the last game. That one was clearly in. Players change ends with Martin now with a mini break up. It's 4-2 Martin. This point coming up a crucial point for both players. And it goes Martin's way. He leads 5-2, and he'll serve 2 coming up.
This is the type of shot that we've been talking about that I think is going to change the game, the way it is played. And it's a Courier Agassi innovation, and Todd Martin is practicing this, and I think you're going to find a lot more. Anytime that ball gets up high in around that three-quarter court, the boys today, with the power, with those rackets, can explode them off for winners.
Without Fred having to come to the net to make the volley, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, even if they get there, they're looking at a pretty good volley, even if they get it back. But, gee, they hit the ball hard from back there.
That is long, 6-2, a handful of match points for Todd Martin. 6-2.
Similar type of shot there at set points.
I should say set points, thank you.
Similar type of shot there because he got in and he had an easy waist-high volley, pushed it deep. But it was the big forehand that set it up again. So Martin's won 6 points in a row now. 5 points in a row, I'm sorry. He'll do it.
Closed that out without clinching, didn't he? And we are dead even at 1 set all. This match will be decided in set 3. It's Agassi and Todd Martin, and we're live in Cincinnati. Well, the fans here are taking a break, some of them anyway, after the second set. And interested, obviously, in getting ready for what may be an enthralling third set.
First serve stats cumulative, or the second set, 79% Agassi. He hasn't been going for very much. Todd Martin, 61%. But look at that in the second set, 11 aces from Todd Martin, only 1 double fault. Winners, he's exploded there with nearly twice as many winners as Agassi, even though he's made 4 times as many errors. But it's that big forehand. That set took 49 minutes. The match has been going for about an hour and a half. And we're all dead even. First couple of games of this third set will possibly tell the story.
First point, third set.
30.
That last passing shot was an example that you don't have to really hit it very hard to hit a clean winner. Here he just guides it straight down the line, putting a premium more on accuracy than on power. Hustles back down, stays right down through it. A little bit of extra roll, gives it a little bit more air over the top of the net.
Then he goes on and wins the game, so Agassi leading 1-0 in the third set. Here we are, 1-0 in the third set. Agassi has held on to win the first game of the third set. Here's a look at what the top players have made so far this year. Courier over $1.5 million. Sampras 200 or so thousand, just short of that. Sergio Bruguera won the French championships. That helped him. Michael Sieg won the German championship, so he's looking pretty good too. 4 of them over $1 million. Stefan Edberg at about $750,000. Then Richard Krajicek. Medvedev of Russia is having a good year too. So is Boris Becker. Michael Chang is a solid competitor. Karl Novacek rounds out that top 10.
Take it even further than the top 10, the money that's on the IBM ATP Tour now for the taking. If you're ranked like Lars Jonsson at 124 on the ATP computer this week, you've made $100,508.
124.
That's not bad.
$15.
15 all. 17 aces for Todd Martin today.
There's 41 players on the tour made over $250,000.
30, 15.
18 now for Martin.
David Wheaton, who has not had a very good year, he's about number 56 in the standings, and he's made $207,725. So there's a lot of money on the IBM ATP Tour for the players.
How about all that serving from Todd Martin in this game? I tell you what, if he can continue that kind of play here in the third set, then anything could happen. Watch this again.
Again, good knee bend, good extension, elbow up, way up high, and that to me is the secret of a good serve.
And high off the ground when he made contact with it as well.
15.
Agassi got his second ace. And it's 15 love.
And the good serving from Todd Martin has negated Andre Agassi's strength, which is his service return. Andre Agassi smashes that ball in frustration into the net, and the second set was a tough set for him to lose because he looked like winning it the whole time. Todd Martin was always behind the 8 ball on his own serve, and then turned things up a notch, and the tiebreaker came up with a couple of spectacular winners.
This is where it's danger time.
Yeah.
1 all, 30 all.
That's 4 games. And more pressure on Agassi, wouldn't you say, Fred, because of the serve game that Todd Martin has just served. You know, he's got to be thinking, gee, I've got to hold on now.
Well, he's also got to be thinking, hey, the last couple of times I've played this guy, I've had a chance and I've missed out on it. And here we go again.
Game point.
Two double faults in the one game. He had not served a double fault in the match up until this service game, Agassi. That's just a super shot because there was a big forehand from Martin and then Agassi sort of got it back and there was a good approach. I thought a good approach off the backhand side. Watch how deep this approach is to Agassi. He moves back into the court. It's a good deep approach and off the back foot he still generates that power by throwing the body weight through.
Agassi holds on. It is 2-1 on serve in the third set. There weren't any breaks of serve in the second set. It was won by Todd Martin. Andre Agassi is not just a tennis superstar. He's more like an international celebrity. And Vidas Gerulaitis talked to him about people's expectations of him and his stature. That's what he said.
The expectation of me, of the people have on me is a blessing and a curse at the same time, really. You know, I mean, the positives to it is it offers you a world of confidence. And he says, gosh, if I believed in myself half as much as they do, then I'd be pretty darn good. And the curse to it is the fact that, you know, you do seem to carry this extra pressure, this responsibility to live up to something. And that does get tiring, and it's definitely not easy. And, you know, and you deal with a lot of things off court that, you know, normal athletes or, you know, they just deal with their sport. It seems like I have to deal with 90% of my questions aren't about the sport. And that poses obstacles for me, too.
On the other hand, I'll never forget when he first took the tour. Sorry, Vidas, but when he first got on, you know, he said, listen, I want to be more than just a tennis player. I want to be a showman, and that's exactly what he's got. 21 aces now for Martin. What were you going to say, Vidas?
Well, right now, the biggest obstacle that he has is Todd Martin right across the net from him. This is, Todd's really turned it up a notch since the tiebreaker in the second set.
21 aces against a guy who returns as well as Agassi. That is really something.
And he's done it very quietly. You know, it's not a...
15 all.
So Todd Martin has been able to come up with the big serves at the big times today. In the second set, he was down love 30 a couple of times, 15-30, now 15 all. You know how important that 1 point is, and he's been able to come up with the big serve.
Another one. Can't do much about that. As you say, that negates the strength of Agassi.
Game point for Martin.
Okay, Martin.
The turn is wide. The set is even, 2 apiece in the third.
2 all.
Winner of this match will take on Richie Renneberg, who earlier today beat Fred's son Sandon in straight sets. Tiebreaker in the second. There is a very quick look at that section of the draw.
15
Little mechanical, technical problem down there in the truck. $30 low.
30 low.
There is the section of the draw now that you can see. Lendl is playing at the moment, actually, on an outside court. And Renneberg will take on the winner of this one.
Lendl's up against Doug Flack, who is Ken Flack's brother of Flack and Seguso, and he's played more matches. He's played 9 matches this year. Doug Flack in the tournament so far.
Because he played in the Challengers tournament.
Yeah, he played in the Challenger event and got to he won that, and then he got a wild card into the event here.
And beat Gianluca Pozzi.
Gianluca Pozzi beat Robbie Weiss in the final of the Challenger, so he's had a lot of tennis on these courts. Played well.
40-15.
Flack's ranking was 177. He'll go up considerably with his performance this week.
Correction, both 40-30.
He's hit a lot of pretty close balls. That line judge down there, that's a different one that was there earlier. They sort of rotate around every 45 minutes, switch jobs, and that person down that end of the court's been calling a few close ones. Funny, it always seems to happen down one end of the court.
Agassi again on a pretty close one down there on that line you were talking about, Fred, but he wins it. We're on serve 3-2 in the third. Gordon Ivanisevic just walked off the court in the second set. I couldn't believe it, really, although he didn't look that interested in what was going on out there anyway. Apparently the problem was he felt that he had a dead arm and he was lacking full power, and so he went to see a doctor. He's been x-rayed and he said, look, there's no problem with this thing. So apparently he will be able to play in the doubles here near Cincinnati. Meantime, Medvedev, a winner 6-2, 6-4 over Pays, Leander Pays. It's amazing what a couple of wins in Davis Cup will do. Pays is playing good, isn't he? Wayne Ferreira's number 14 seed, a winner over Carlson. Richie Renneberg over Sandon Stolly, 6-3, 7-6.
Sydney or the Bush. He's even laughing at himself for that one. Todd Martin said, why would I be so stupid to try and do that?
Explain that, Fred. Sydney or the Bush, would you?
Well, Sydney or the Bush means you're going to go for it, or it's no chance of making it. And he, look at this. It's only a 3/4. He doesn't even get a full extension on the arm there. That's just a percentage shot. Tony Travitt calls those closet shots. Keep him in the closet. lapse in concentration. A silly shot in the first point, and then an overhit forehand puts him in trouble at love 30. There's been 18 straight service games without a break point opportunity.
See how he reacts to this pressure situation. What's it, 21 aces for him in the match?
22.
Good second serve, jamming Andre Agassi. Sometimes it's a good play when you're serving, instead of serving out wide to the forehand or back and go right into the body.
Take away the angle.
Break points for Agassi coming up. The breaker serve, the first one, as you said, Fred, in quite a while. In fact, there were no breaks in the second, so Andre Agassi now leads 4-2, and he'll serve. Cliff Drysdale along with Fred Stolle, Vitas Gerolaitis. You're watching live coverage from near Cincinnati, the Thriftway ATP Championships coming up next year on ESPN, the Xerox Saab Pro Series Auto Racing from Laguna Seca. Then that will follow. But of course, because of the length of this match, we'll have to wait until this is over.
That was a good backhand volley, but that was set up by that three-quarter shot from the middle of the court that Fred's been talking about throughout the match. And not an easy backhand volley.
No.
It was hit with a lot of pace, and he got the racket well out in front.
Well, I think Agassi technically volleys quite well. It's just that he doesn't go in there very often. On the low volleys, I don't think it's not as good as on the high shot.
30-15.
But as you have both been saying, and I really agree with it, I mean, he gets his winners from the three-quarter court reel. 30-15. Agassi started last year terribly, and then, of course, didn't do badly at the French Championships and won Wimbledon. That was his big thing. This year he started out great. He won 2 tournaments and then was injured. A break point for Todd Martin.
30-14.
Anyway, the result of all that is that he's way down in the low 20s now in terms of ranking. Watch this.
Agassi had gotten off to a good start in this game, 30 love. Now he's down break point.
One of the problems that Todd Martin had in Montreal at the Players International up there was converting break points. Hasn't had too many opportunities today.
Deuce.
Agassi was really looking for that one back in that corner, wasn't he? He's such terrific balance, and he played that just after the ball bounced. It wasn't a half volley, but it wasn't much further up than that because he never gave ground away from the baseline, stood his ground and just cranked it.
So after all, he holds on. A little bit of trouble in that game, but Agassi is the leader now in the third set, 5 games to 2, behind 1 break of serve. Welcome back, everybody. Andre Agassi leading by 5 games to 2 in the third set. It is 1 set all. It's a first round men's singles match. Been on the air for quite a while now, as you know, if you've been with us since 1 o'clock this afternoon. Let's tell you again, Andre Agassi unseeded in the tournament, taking on the number 11 seed Todd Martin. So a terrible draw for Todd Martin. Match itself barely short of 2 hours out. 3 breaks of serve in the first set. Agassi won at 6-3. No breaks in the second. 1 in the tie break by Martin. And just 1 break here in the third.
He's lucky he wasn't standing anywhere near that. And you can see Todd Martin sort of a bit of a shake of the head.
Not much prospect of that ball going in. I don't think Agassi really cared one way or the other because he was down so badly in that game. He's worried about this game coming up. 5-3, serving for the match.
You can safely call that a low percentage shot.
Sydney or the bush.
Or the American equivalent, low percentage shot.
Don't forget, coming up next here on ESPN, Xerox Pro Series Auto Racing from Laguna Seca. For the moment, you are watching Andre Agassi trying to close out this match. We're live near Cincinnati. 15 love Agassi, 5-3 Agassi. This is the third set.
As well, we've been talking about that half-court ball. Just knocks it for a winner. It's better than a serve and volley.
A down-the-line two-handed backhand from Todd Martin is awfully deadly, not only because he hits it hard, great production on that shot, but he's also very accurate with that. And he finishes it off with a good backhand volley. Always looking to get that high ball and close in on it. Great
Two
depth.
match points for Agassi.
Great depth from Andre Agassi, keeping the ball really deep.
Remember, they played already twice this year, both times won by Todd Martin, one in Memphis earlier in the year indoors and then in Montreal. So big moment for Agassi. Crowd of autograph seekers are already starting to make their way to try to get Andre Agassi's autograph. Good luck to them. Agassi walks out there to acknowledge the crowd for just a moment. He wins this in 3 sets. What do you think, Fred?
I think he's got to be very satisfied with that performance today, and he's now looking after the crowd. He didn't pay too much attention to him during that match because he knew he had a tough match on his hands with Todd Martin, but I think he's got to be pretty happy with the way he played.
6-3 in the third set for Andre Agassi. He lost the second in a tiebreak. Agassi is through to the second round. Our coverage of today's tennis has been brought to you by IBM. There's never been a better time to do business with IBM. And by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 1 o'clock here on ESPN with continuing live coverage from the Cincinnati area of the